Diane Barnes. Diane, welcome to Book Talk.
Hi, Buffy. Thanks for having me today. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm very excited to get right into this. So can you talk about what the title of your newest book is and what it is about?
Sure. My latest book, it's called More Than. It's about a single mom, Peggy Moriarty, who's a widow, and she's been raising her twin children since the time they were 4. And when the book starts, they're 17 and about to go to school. And Peggy is the ultimate helicopter mom. She has no interest other than her 2 kids, except for watching a TV show called Messages from Beyond. And there's a medium on the show who claims to be able to connect grieving with their deceased loved ones. So Peggy dreams about going on the show so she can talk to her deceased husband, Patrick, one last time. But Peggy's overweight, so she doesn't have the confidence she needs to call and try out for the show. The kids are really worried about their mom, what's going to happen to her. They're about to leave for school and they don't know what she's going to do since she doesn't really have any friends. So before they leave, they get her a gift certificate to a local gym. And Peggy doesn't want to go, and she's sort of insulted that they got her this gift. But then she thinks about it and she's like, well, maybe if I go to the gym, I'll lose weight and I can go on the show. So she decides to go, and it's a life-changing experience for her, not because of the exercises, but because of the people she meets in the exercise class. She makes friends that teach her that she's more than a widow, more than a mother, and much more than a body type. So to me, it's like the ultimate story of female friendship and the power of friendship and how it enriches your life.
So how did you come up with this idea? Is it kind of a mix of people you know, sort of you? How did you arrive here?
Yeah, definitely not me. I mean, the one part of it that's true is that I did go to a boot camp exercise class and I met a lot of great women. I participate in National Novel Writing Month, and I was working on another book and I just wasn't getting anywhere. So I was like, I need to write 50,000 words and I need to write them fast. What's something that's fun, that I like doing that'll be easy to write about? And I loved going to my exercise class because of all my friends there. So I'm like, I'm going to write about a woman who goes to this exercise class. So that's how I got the idea. And it just sort of evolved as I was writing it.
So you wrote this over the course of 1 month? Is that how you?
No. I wrote the first very rough draft over 1 month, but then it took like a couple of years to shape it. Yeah.
Oh, so you've been writing. When did you start writing and when did you publish? How long of a window was that for you?
It was a long time. I wrote another book in between because I was writing romances, or what my publisher called romances. So I had to stop writing. So it took a couple of years for me to write More Than. It was a long process.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's very interesting talking to writers because some people are like, they write it and they just want to put it out. And then there's others who kind of, keep going back to it. So you wrote another book in between. What is this a special book for you? Is that why you were holding off on it? Or did it just not feel right to publish?
Yeah, it was really special for me. I just had so much fun writing it. And because, like I said, the exercise class was real. So I just really wanted to spend as much time with it as I could. And my other books are sort of more romance. And this story, More Than, is not a romance at all. It's a power of, really, like I said, female friendships. So my publisher wanted another romance novel from me. So I didn't want to change More Than into a romantic story. I wanted it to be about female friendship. So I didn't want to change it. So I just put it aside and then wrote another romance.
Well, while we're talking about that, can you talk about your other books and what they're about? How many other books do you have besides More Than?
Sure, I have 2 other books. My debut novel was called Waiting for Ethan, and I think it was published in 2014. And it's about a girl who, when she's a teenager, her best friend's grandmother tells her the name of her future husband. And the grandmother is a psychic, and everything else she said has come true. So the girl, her name is Gina, and she really believes her. And then when she's older, she finally meets a man with that name, which is Ethan. Waiting for Ethan is the title. And he's not at all what she thought he would be. And he doesn't seem to be a good fit for her. But because of her preconceived beliefs, she tries to make him be who she thinks he is. So it's sort of, the story is love predictable. And, do we believe things based on what people have told us? Yeah, that was a fun book to write. And then after that, I wrote a book called Mixed Signals. And Mixed Signals, I say romance, but really it's about a woman whose fiance breaks up with her shortly after proposing. And he's a producer for a local talk show, a sports radio show. And the hosts on the radio show are really sexist. And they sort of make fun of the breakup, and it goes viral. And so she has to deal with all these people commenting on her breakup. And also at the same time, the hosts are trying to find her old fiance a new girlfriend. So they're holding a contest. And she didn't want people to know that they were broken up. So she tried to hide it. And then they were talking about it on the radio. So she's sort of outed.
I really like both of those. Those are really interesting. Specifically the second one of the talk show, because that I can feel the embarrassment. It's probably so awkward. I don't even know how you come up with ideas like that, but they're both very different. They're all three books seem very different from each other.
They are.
Yeah. So I assume you did not self-publish, because you talked about how you have a publisher, right?
Right. Yeah. I was traditionally published. Kensington published my first two novels, Waiting for Ethan and Mixed Signals. And then Red Adept Publishers has published More Than.
So how did you get involved with publishing? Because I know that's kind of can be kind of difficult. So how did you navigate that and everything?
Yeah, so that was when I was writing Waiting for Ethan, I always sort of dreamed about being traditionally published. So I looked for an agent, and I was really lucky with Waiting for Ethan. There's you have to query agents, and you write to them and you tell them what your book is about, and you don't send them the book. You just tell them what it's about and maybe a few sample pages, and they'll request to read it. And I had a lot of interest in it. And so I was lucky that I found a really great agent while I was during the query process. So then you hand over your book to your agent, and then your agent finds you a publisher.
What is your story? Where are you from? And more importantly, have you always wanted to do writing stuff? Because it seems like you published your first book in 2014. So you were probably doing other things before then. So yeah, I guess, how did you end up where you are now?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a writer since second grade. In second grade, we went out for recess, and when we came back, there were these huge footsteps, paper footprints all over the classroom. They were across the floor, over desk, under desk, and they led to the windows. And we had to write a story about what happened when we were at recess, who left these huge footprints. And I started writing the story, and I just really never stopped writing since that day. So in college, I majored in journalism, and I wrote for the newspaper. My first job was at a local newspaper. And then I worked for a magazine, and then I switched over to marketing and became a marketing writer. So I've always wanted to write. I wrote short stories before I wrote a novel. And then one year, my friend just said, hey, let's try doing National Novel Writing Month. And that's where you write a whole draft in 30 days, which is a really hard thing to do. And I did it. And since I put so much time into it during that month, I didn't want to just let it go. So it actually, after I wrote that first draft, it took a few more years for me to finish the book. And the book I ended up with was nothing like the book I originally wrote, but it's really what got me started.
So are you still working as a marketing person now? So are you doing both at the same time, writing and
I am. Yeah, I do. I work for a healthcare company doing marketing and corporate communication writing. And then, so I do that during the day, the typical 9-to-5 job. And then on weekends and evenings, I write fiction. I work on my novels. So always writing.
Yeah, I was going to say, are you just writing all the time?
Pretty much. And if I'm not writing, I'm reading, because I think reading is the thing that makes you a better writer. It's the thing that you can do more than anything that improves your writing. So if I'm not writing, I'm usually reading.
So, do you usually read books that are more romance type things, or do you kind of do all different stuff? Because you said your first two books were romance books.
Yeah, no, I do all different book types. I don't really read a lot of romances. I read a lot of women's fiction. I read thrillers. I try to mix it up. So, and I listen to a lot of books on Audible too. I love listening to books too when I go for walks or I'm exercising. So,
Women writers. So, you like to read books by women or just stories about women?
um, I like stories about relationships, really. So, not I don't only read female writers. I read a lot of women writers, but Frederick Backman is a favorite of mine, and he wrote Anxious People, A Man Called Of. I love his books too. So Elizabeth Berg, I love women's fiction, but yeah, I sort of read all different genres, except maybe science fiction. I don't read a lot of that.
So, what is your goal as a writer? Is there a certain milestone that you'd like to reach with your writing at some point?
That's a great question. And wow, I guess if you had asked me that while I was writing my first book or after I wrote my first book, the answer would have been totally different. I would have said, I want to be a bestseller. I want to make a living writing, have my book turned into a movie. But through the years, what I've learned is the only control I have in the process is writing the book. So now my goal is just to make sure that I write a book that I'm proud of and that I have fun while I'm writing it. And bonus if people read it and like it.
But do you still want your books to be turned into movies?
Well, of course I do, yeah. But I'm definitely, I just realize now how subjective the business is. And you can write a really great book and it just doesn't get attention. There's so many people out there writing, and there's so many great books out there that people never heard of. It's just really luck what happens to your book. So,
are there any books that you've read that that you've enjoyed that don't really have that attention that you wish they did? I don't know, because you said there's a lot of great books out there, and now I'm curious if there are good books that I just don't know anything about.
Yeah, I think if you look at any book by my publisher, Red Adept Publishing, it's a small publisher, and they have so many great books, and just because it's a small independent publisher, they don't get the attention of the big publishers a lot of time.
Do you have another book that you're working on right now, or are you thinking about? Are you generating, like, what step in the process are if you're working on your next book?
Yeah, so this time I did something which I've never really done before. I started writing a book and then I put it down, and then I'm sort of working at two books at one time. So I'm in the middle of two books. So I'm kind of going back and forth. And this summer, I just need to get one of them done. So I need to pick which one it's going to be and just see it all the way through. But they're really different books. So one's about a woman who's middle-aged and she dreams about being 24 again, and her wish comes true and she gets to be 24 again. And the other is about a couple who are trying to have a family, and they're not successful, and just the impact on their marriage. So one's like a fun and one's serious. So
yeah, totally. They seem very different. Wow. Yeah. I like I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for the one of the woman who middle-aged turns 24 again. That's really, does she time travel back to when she was 24?
No, she doesn't. So the book takes place, it's pre-COVID, so 2019. So she's like 50 in 2019, and then she turns 24 and it's still 2019. And everyone that she used to know is the same age. Like so her husband, he's 50, but he's not her husband anymore. Like she has a totally different life. But she's like, it's sort of like she just pops up as a 24-year-old in 2019, and like sort of no one knows her, and she gets to like do her life over again.
That's really interesting. So yeah. When do you think that, I'm going to ask you this, but you probably have no idea. When do you think these books are going to be done? Do you have any idea? Or is it?
No. I wish I did, but yeah, I need to write them, and then they have to go to my agent, and then she finds a publisher. And so it's a really long process. I mean, publishing takes forever. That's what I've learned in a few years that I've been doing it.
So this is just a question that's kind of geared toward, I guess, your book specifically about the empty nester mother, or that fear. So I guess, what advice would you have, or would you give to parents with teenagers who are maybe going off to college and that type of thing? I don't know if you had to experience that yourself or not. I'm not quite sure what your background is.
Yeah, no, I haven't experienced it. But speaking for my character, Peggy, from her experience, develop other interests besides your kids. Make sure that you're living a full life so that when your kids go off to school, you have other things going on. In my book, Peggy is, she's just consumed with her children. And there's a reason for that, because when her husband passed away, they were fighting about how to raise the kids. They had different ideas, and she wanted to prove to him that she could be a good mom. So when he passed away, she was just intent on being the best parent she could be, like a parent that he'd be proud of.
So those are all the questions I have. So is there anything else that you want to talk about related to your book, or your books plural, or just you in general?
I guess I'll just say to readers, the best way to thank an author and to help an author out is to leave reviews. And if you read a book that you like, to tell people about it. It's close with that.
Yeah, I was looking at the reviews for More Than and on Amazon, and a lot of people seem to really love it. So it had a lot of people, a lot of ratings. So it seems like it's quite popular. I don't know, maybe I'm just speaking from what I saw. Oh, I have a question. Because the book is set in Hudson, Massachusetts.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is Walton. So
yeah, and I'm from Hudson. So how did you, I guess, incorporate Hudson into the story?
Yeah, so I used to live in Hudson, and the boot camp that I attended was it was a Boost Fitness in Hudson, and so that's why I went to set it there. So it's a fictionalized version of Hudson. One thing that plays a really big part of it is the rail trail. The characters take a lot of walks and they jog along the rail trail. So I really love that the rail trail is in there. There's a reference, I think, down on Main Street. There's that little caboose across from like the ice cream place. So that's in there. But in the book, I changed it into like, it's a store. It sells like pretzels and lemonade, and they go there. So it's a fictionalized version of Hudson. There's a hairdresser in downtown Hudson, and there's a coffee shop in downtown Hudson. The kids attend Hudson High. So yeah, it was fun writing about a local place, but I definitely made some parts of Hudson up in it.
No, now I know exactly where the caboose on the rail trail is, because I walk the rail trail like all the time. Yeah. And now I want it to be a store that sells pretzels and lemonade. That sounds like such a good idea.
Wouldn't that be if you were like walking around there and you came across that little train and you could just like walk up the stairs and get like pretzel lemonade, or yeah.
That would be so cute. Oh, now I don't know who to pitch that to, but I want that to happen. The cutest thing ever. That's all I really have to say. That's so cool, though. Now I really want to read this. Now it's set in Hudson. They went to Hudson High, even though it's a fictionalized Hudson. A good idealistic version, I would assume. And it seems like it would be like such a cute movie too, because I could picture it. But anyways,
right? Because downtown Hudson is so cute, right? It's
so cute. It's like perfect small town suburb downtown. I don't have anything else to say. Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we end this?
No, just thanks so much for having me today. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Diane. I had a great time, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to really checking out your books. Oh, do you have any social media or websites that you want to plug before we end this?
Thanks. My website is dianembarnes.com. And if you visit and sign up for my newsletters, I do giveaways, not just of my books, but of other books too, or gift certificates. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram as Diane Barnes 777. Thanks for reminding me of that.
No problem. Thank you so much, Diane. This has been Book Talk. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.